Hello and welcome to the Successful Thinking Podcast, where impossible becomes possible. It's time to claim your successful mindset and live your dreams. With your host, Master Certified Life and Success Coach, Dr. Jolene Church.
Hey, welcome back, successful thinkers, to the Successful Thinking Podcast, where we journey together through the landscapes of our minds, breaking down barriers and transforming the so-called impossible into possible. I am Dr. Jolene Church, and it is so wonderful to have you here with me today. And in this episode, we're going to be digging into a powerful concept that has the potential to radically shift your approach to achieving your dreams and aspirations. It's really about the difference between focusing on what you want in life as opposed to what you don't want, and how this simple change in perspective can unlock doors that we don't even often realize are closed. Now, I developed a short video years back, but this concept keeps popping back up, so I thought it was time that I talked about it on the podcast because I never have. So imagine you have two jars sitting on your desk. One is labeled "don't want," and it's filled with fears and doubts and negativities that hold you back. And then the other is labeled "desires," and it's brimming with hopes and dreams and aspirations. So which one do you think gets filled up more quickly in your life? You know, this imagery is more than just a metaphor. It's a practical tool for reshaping our thoughts and consequently our realities. So throughout our time today, I'm going to help you explore how shifting that focus from a scarcity mindset where you're constantly aware of what's lacking to an abundance mindset. This is where we channel our energy into what we deeply desire, and this can truly be the game changer. This isn't just about positive thinking, this is about strategic thinking, the kind that leads to real, tangible change. Whether you're in a rut, or you're facing something that just seems like an insurmountable challenge, or simply looking for a way to upgrade your mindset, this is the episode for you. So I'm going to, as always, cover some practical strategies and share some insights and provide that motivational boost to really help start filling that jar of desires right away. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's embark on this transformative journey together, because it is truly time for you to turn your impossible into possible, one thought at a time. So we're going to start by understanding the two-jar concept. So we're picturing those two jars on the desk, and one is labeled "don't want." This is all of those things that really hold you back. And then the other, the desires, filled with your hopes and dreams and aspirations. So most of us, without realizing it, spend more time adding to the "don't want" jar. I don't want this to happen. I hope this doesn't happen. I'm afraid of, right? We fill our jar. We think about all of those things that we're afraid of happening and what we hope doesn't happen. And all of those things that we want to avoid, but this inadvertently reinforces the very thing we wish to stay away from. So when we're focusing on negatives, even in the form of avoidance, this can reinforce barriers in our thinking. It's like constantly telling yourself not to think about a pink elephant. And what do? That's all you can think about is the pink elephant. So this focus can create a mental block where our energy and thoughts are channeling into preventing negatives rather than creating positives. So it's a defensive and reactive way of living rather than a proactive and creative one. So what I'd like to help you do is shift that to an abundance mindset. So let's talk about the desires jar, right? This represents the abundance mindset. It's about focusing on everything that you want, what you wish to attract, and where you want to go. So shifting your focus to this jar doesn't mean that you're ignoring challenges and obstacles. Instead, it means that you're recognizing them, but you're choosing to focus on the solutions, the goals, and the positive outcomes that you're working towards. So what does this look like? Because there's an impact to our positive focus, right? When we start filling that jar of desires, it's not that we're just being optimistic, but instead we're aligning our thoughts and our energies and our actions with the goal. It's about making a conscious decision to focus on the possibilities and not on the limitations. This shift in focus can be so empowering, and it opens up your mind to new ideas, new solutions, and new ways of thinking. It can take a big, huge, hairy problem and turn it into an opportunity, and then a setback into a stepping stone. So I want you to take a moment just to reflect on what your two jars would look like. Think about this. What would the ratio be between these two jars? Which one have you been filling more? And what's it going to take to get you to start filling up the jar that you want? So let's think about how you can start adding more to that desires jar starting today. All right? So we've looked at this concept, introduced you to this concept, don't want versus desires, and how focusing on what we want can lead to significant shifts in our mindset. So let's take this concept into a real world application so we can see how it impacts our daily lives. So I'm going to share this story with you. I knew this person who, like many of us, gets to a point in their career where they feel stuck. And so this friend of mine, she constantly focused on what she didn't want. A demanding boss, long hours, a lack of recognition. Her don't want jar was overflowing, but her desires jar was almost empty. So she decided one day that she was changing her approach. And so every day she wrote down one thing that she desired in her career and she put it in that desires jar. And so, this can be as simple as a peaceful work day, right? But then again, it could be as significant as a promotion. There's no limit to what you desire. That can all go in the jar. So this small action shifted her focus. And instead of dwelling on her dissatisfaction, she started visualizing her desired career path. She was no longer just reacting to her environment. She was actively shaping her future. And over time, her mindset shifted. She began to notice opportunities that she had previously overlooked. She started taking actions that were aligned with what she wanted. She enrolled in courses that improved her skills, and she got into some networking opportunities. Eventually, she landed the job that was more aligned with her desires. And even though this was not an overnight miracle, it was the result of a gradual yet powerful shift in focus. So let's turn this into a strategy that you can use. Start by identifying one area of your life where you feel stuck or any level of dissatisfaction. This could be in your career, in your personal life, in your health, or any other area. Now, let me share a quick story with you. Within the last couple weeks, I had a big health scare. And I went to the emergency room because I was having some problems with my heart. And after about 6 hours in the emergency room on monitors, the doctor came in and said, I'd like to keep you overnight and do some additional testing. So of course I did. And fortunately, what came out of that was that my cholesterol was too high. And I eat really well. So this was way out of left field. I did not expect this. Exercise every day. I eat really healthy, but I wasn't paying attention to cholesterol. Who normally pays attention to cholesterol unless you've been told your cholesterol is high? Well, this gave me this hyper awareness all of a sudden that, whoa, I really need to put this in check. This is a part of, this is driving my heart, right? So I was very concerned. And so when we have an area that we need to shift, then I desired instantly in that moment, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to turn that number around. And so definitely became a label reader for sure. I have really stepped up my game in that area. So my new exercise routine is completely different than what it used to be. How I eat is very different than it used to be. And definitely my label reading is way different than it used to be. But for you, what you can do is for over this next week, every single day, write down one thing that you desire in that area and then add that to your desires jar. Whether this is a physical jar or a digital note, that doesn't matter. So as you do this, be mindful of how it affects your mindset. And are you starting to see possibilities where you once saw obstacles? Or are you feeling more empowered to take action towards your goals? So with me in becoming hyper aware that I had this problem, right? This challenge area in my life that I didn't even know I had, all of a sudden I desired to step up my health routine, which meant getting more rest, drinking more water, watching the cholesterol labels on food. Still, I keep my calories within a certain range, but now I'm really paying attention to saturated fats and cholesterol. I'm really not a meat eater anyway, so that wasn't a problem. But there's cholesterol in there's a lot of cholesterol in a lot of things that you wouldn't realize that there is. And so I just had to make a shift. I think the first day as I was reading labels, I was walking through the store thinking, oh my gosh, all of these shelves are filled with things that can kill people. They're just loaded with cholesterol. What can I eat? So I saw it as this obstacle at first. And then as I got looking at other options of what I could eat, enjoy it, I saw possibility. And so I started feeling more empowered. And so that action towards my goal, doing all of these things to change the outcome of my cholesterol level, seemed like a doable thing at that point. So as we think about this topic, I'm inviting you to reflect on the power of focusing on what you want. For me, I want to live a very long life without any health challenges. I want to be fit, I want to be healthy, and I want to be around for my husband, my children, my grandchildren. But we need to remember that as we are looking at the concept of these two jars, this isn't about ignoring the negatives. It's about empowering the positives, what you do want. So I have this high cholesterol number, but that's not what I want. I'm not ignoring it. Instead, I'm empowered to take action to change the future. So this is about filling your life with the things that you desire, one thought and one action at a time. Again, thought design paradigm. When we think about this in that thought that contributes to a feeling that contributes to an action that contributes to the results. This is huge. How I think about this is going to impact the outcome completely. So next, let's go into some practical strategies that you can implement right away to make this shift in focus really a consistent part of your life. I'm going to provide you with some actionable steps that you can take to shift your focus towards what you desire, thereby transforming your thoughts and patterns and ultimately your life. So let's look at strategy 1. And this would be creating your own jars of desires. Start with something as simple as an actual jar or just a dedicated notebook. And each day you're going to write down one thing that you desire or a goal you want to achieve, and you're going to place it in the jar or the notebook. So this can be anything from a small daily goal to a larger life aspiration, but you need to make this a ritual. So maybe this is every morning with your coffee. Oh, this is a great one to add here. So part of my changing my lifestyle with high cholesterol was that I gave up caffeine. The biggest coffee drinker in the world went to decaf and then went to completely caffeine-free green tea. I mean, I'm completely shocked, but I did it. So whatever that ritual. So now for me, it's either having my decaf or my green tea in the morning and really focusing on that desire. So whatever that ritual is, maybe it's every night before you go to bed, you're going to take a moment to really think about what you want and you're going to add it to the jar or your notebook. The next one, for those of you who have followed me for any amount of time, you know that I am all about affirmations. So strategy 2 is daily affirmations and visualizations. I co-authored the book Songs of Affirmation with my daughter Courtney because affirmations are powerful tools for maintaining a positive and goal-oriented mindset. So develop a set of affirmations that resonate with your desires. For example, if you're looking for a new career opportunity, an affirmation can be, I am attracting the perfect job for my skills and passions. I am attracting the perfect job for my skills and passions. Now we can combine affirmations with visualization. And so if we just spend a few minutes each day visualizing our activities of achieving that desire, like living it, like it's happened, and I can see myself going to the doctor and getting that report of a cholesterol number less than 100. I can see that. I want that. I desire that. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself achieving your desire and imagine how it feels, what it looks like, what it smells like, what it sounds like. Think about the steps that you took to get there. This practice can profoundly influence your subconscious because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between the made-up stuff and what's actual. So as you create it in your mind, you create it into existence because it's there. Your mind doesn't know the difference. So your subconscious is looking at it like, yeah, you are attracting the perfect job for your skills and passions. Yeah, you are. You're moving mountains, man. You're moving and shaking. So think about this because this can help guide your actions towards your goals when your subconscious has your back. So then we can look at intentional focus. That would be strategy number 3. This is staying on track because we live in a world full of distractions. So maintaining focus on our goals is crucial. Create a daily or a weekly plan that aligns with your desires. So break that down, any of the larger goals into smaller, manageable tasks, what I call eating the elephant one bite at a time. So where's that first bite coming from? I want to make the first move really that thing that I've got to do before anything else to get started to get the ball rolling. So use tools like planners or apps or even just a simple to-do list to keep track of your progress and celebrate your small victories. I cannot emphasize this enough. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate the small victories along the way because these are the steps that are leading you to your larger desire. So celebrate along the way. It's really, really important. My daughter has recently lost 50 pounds. She was initially setting out to lose 80 pounds. That seems like so much. She lost 50, blew past 50, but she told herself that 80 just seemed unrealistic to her. So she said, I'm going to first start by losing 50 pounds, which she did. So she has another 30 that she thinks she wants to lose, about another 30. She's not sure yet. She said, 30 sounds easy now after losing 50. So sometimes it's just how we're looking at this. And so I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute, about reframing. But it's really important to celebrate. So as she hit that 50, that was a huge celebration point. That was massive. But it's normal to encounter distractions and setbacks when we're moving forward with something. So when this happens, gently guide yourself back to focusing on your desires and ask yourself, what can I learn from this setback? What can I learn from this distraction? What can I learn from this moment? And how can this bring me closer to my goal? right? I'm going to recommit at this moment because I'm irritated that of this setback. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to power through. I'm going to do this. So remember, the path to achieving your desires is not always linear. We have to be flexible and adaptable in our approach. So I'd like to encourage you to implement at least one of these strategies in the coming week. Experiment with what resonates with you and observe how it influences your mindset and your actions. So again, just to recap those strategies, right? You've got strategy 1, the desire jars. Or jar of desires. Well, maybe they overflow in their jars. Then number 2, you've got the daily affirmations and visualization. And then 3, intentional focus. Just being very intent. So far we've explored the concept of focusing on our desires. We've looked at some practical strategies to manifest them. But now let's tackle a crucial aspect of the journey, and that's overcoming the 3 top challenging areas. These are the most common challenges that arise when shifting our mindset and pursuing our goals. So when it comes to the first one, that would be doubt. One of the biggest obstacles in this process is self-doubt. And doubt can creep in when things don't go as planned, or when progress seems slow, or when it seems unsurmountable. Like I explained, my daughter thought 80 pounds seemed way crazy, but 50 somehow seemed realistic. And so she went with that. And then she had a second goal. So to combat this, we've got to remind ourselves of past successes, no matter how small. When you were able to achieve something, we've got to be able to reflect back on that and use that to boost ourselves forward. So reflect on times where you overcame obstacles and achieved something meaningful. This reflection can be powerful. So then the next would be fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of stepping out of our comfort zones. These fears can paralyze us. So acknowledge your fears, but don't let them dictate your actions. A really useful exercise is to ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? More often than not, you're going to realize that fear is exaggerated and that you have the strength to face it. And then finally, the third top 3 challenges is impatience. We live in a really fast-paced world. I do not want to wait to, go look for something, see if I can find it at a store anymore. I hop online and I just get it. I'm so impatient. But in our fast-paced world, we really have to get away from this thinking of the wanting immediate results. Remember, real and lasting change takes time. I'm not changing my cholesterol overnight. I know that. But I know that I can reverse this. So practice patience by setting realistic timelines for your goals and celebrating the small steps of progress along the way. So how about some tips for maintaining a positive outlook during setbacks? That might be helpful, right? So let's start with reframing your challenges, like I just mentioned a bit ago. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, see them as learning opportunities. What can I learn from this? Because each challenge is a chance to grow and refine your approach. It's very important to stay connected to your why. Keep reminding yourself why your goal is important to you, because this connection can provide you the motivation that's going to be needed to push you through those tough times. And then finally, there's mindfulness and gratitude. When we practice mindfulness to stay present and avoid dwelling on past setbacks or future anxieties, we're going to set ourselves up for success. So cultivate gratitude by acknowledging and appreciating what's going on in your journey. Then I have a strategy for building resilience. This resilience building exercise is pretty simple. And what I need you to do is just each evening take a couple minutes just to jot down what went well that day. Y'all know that I have the board in my office, and my board has my wins. And so I have my 3 wins on my board. So I do this every single day. But when we look at what went well that day, how you overcame a challenge or something new that you've learned, this practice can help build your resilience by highlighting your ability to navigate difficulties. So remember that overcoming challenges is an integral part of the journey towards achieving your desires. When we learn to embrace these challenges as they come and use them as stepping stones to your success, now we're going somewhere. So let's wrap this up with some inspiration for the week and a final reflection on today's topic. I want to leave you with a challenge. So identify one desire or goal that you've been hesitant to pursue. It could be something small or something grand. Commit to taking one step towards this goal this week, just one step, but make it a decisive one step. To fuel your journey, here's a quote to prompt you. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. That was Eleanor Roosevelt. Let's look at this quote as a reminder that our desires are valid and achievable. I mean, just say that to yourself. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. My desires are valid and achievable. That feels pretty darn good. So keep in mind the essence of today's discussion is not just about wishful thinking. It's about actionable thinking. It's about aligning your thoughts and your words and your actions and your deepest desires. Reflect on the 2 jars we talked about at the beginning, the don't want and the desires. Continually ask yourself which jar you're filling each day. This simple act of awareness can be a powerful tool in shifting your focus. And I encourage you to share your experiences and progress with all of the listeners here by sending me an email to Dr. Jolene at drjolenechurch.com, because I would love an opportunity to share your story on air. Just let me know that it's okay to share. I would love to share your story. Your journey may inspire somebody. You can also connect on Instagram at Dr. Jolene Church or on LinkedIn. Let me know how you're doing. And, if you've found today's episode valuable, consider subscribing and sharing the podcast with others. Your support helps us reach and inspire more people. So as I wrap up, I want to thank you for joining me today. Your time and your willingness to grow are what make this podcast a meaningful endeavor. Remember, every journey starts with a single step. So let this week be the start of a new chapter in your pursuit of your desires. You have the power to turn impossible into possible. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I'll be here next week with more insights and strategies to help you break down barriers and achieve your true potential. Until then, focus on your jar of desires and make every day count. Namaste.